Shannon Bryant here, Virtual and Blended Learning Coordinator for Keller ISD, and this video is all about taking notes. So, a lot of people ask me, hey, how do you know what to write down, what not to write down when you're in class taking notes? Well, first of all, remember, you can take notes no matter what you're doing, whether you're in class or not. Anytime you're learning from an experience, you should be taking notes. So video, reading assignment, lab, game that you're playing in class, get those notes out and take them. Here are some things to consider having in your notes. You want to have an essential question. This might be a question based on the objective your teacher has posted, or maybe your teacher gave you an essential question. But either way you look at it, the essential question is the question that is essential for you to ask by the time this lesson is over. So I like to put it at the very top of my notes, maybe in red, and highlight it so I don't forget I've got to answer that question before I leave class today. Paraphrasing is another way, taking what somebody has said or something you've experienced it and putting it in your own words. Giving examples. Maybe there are examples of how this could be tested or how it might be assessed at the end of this lesson. With vocabulary, make sure that you take some time to explore and understand any new vocabulary. You might even want to have a section in your notes where you're just keeping vocabulary. I like to add a glossary at the end of my notes. And maybe even at the top of those pages, I can put words that are A through D are going to be on this page, and on the next page, E through G. However you want to do. What I've noticed is about 3 letters per page seems to take care of the alphabet in my notes for the year. Now, I am going to model how to do this using Nearpod because it's what I love. And if you don't know about Nearpod, it has the ability to take notes. I'm only modeling how to pull the information that I need from my notes and put it into a Google slide. So you can think about this as pulling the information from your teacher's PowerPoint or video and putting that information into your notes. All right, let's take a look at it. So right up there in the right-hand corner, this is where I can activate these notes so they're available to me on every slide and sent to me at the end of this lesson. I'm going to choose to have mine go to Google Drive. When you choose Google Drive, it's going to ask you what folder you want to put those in. I'm just going to have them put those in my random Google Drive, but if I was a student, I would probably want to start by having them put in a folder that I've made titled Triangle Theorems. Now those notes will be sent to me, and what will be sent to me is not just what's on the screen, but anything I type and add to this plane over here on the right hand side. And I can make that plane go away just by clicking the notes. For example, on this slide, I had students click and slide the Slide Me bar and find the relationship between angles of a triangle and the length of the line across from them. As a student, as those things are told to me in class, that's the big idea here, I'm going to add that information. The next one again was an applet that in class, in the live lesson, students would have tried to build a triangle with different side lengths. Play around with it until they found out which ones were not a triangle. I'm going to go ahead and snip those like I had students do in class, because on the next board is where they put this information. And then they played around with these, and then the hope was that they would see if the 2 smaller sides add up to the longer side, they make a line, not a triangle. So on the next slide, we called that an almost triangle. Okay, so I'm going to save that one too, so I can add it to the new slide. Okay, so they messed around with that for a little bit, and there really isn't anything to put there. The big idea is created a triangle and an almost triangle. So the key here is for discipline, making yourself put something on every slide. But what I'm going to do is insert our 2 pictures. And then the big idea here, students just had to put that information on the Collaborate board. Cool about this, doing it with this Collaborate board, they would get to see what other students posted here. So then if they weren't getting the right notes, they could add to these notes just by copying and pasting based on what other students have added there. Example would show up in my notes as well. So let's go ahead and do it so you can see what an example would look like. I don't have to include every single example. I can pick and choose in my notes while I'm going along, just because it's different from the other ones. And again, I'm in class. I haven't seen all the examples, so maybe I'll decide to choose another one. There was another big idea in this lesson. You can do the Slide Me board, and it's going to show the relationship of all triangles' interior angles. So here I can see that it makes a line. Okay, now show the sum of the exterior. Slide me up. So all of the exterior angles. Cool. I tell my students to draw the triangle and label the information given. In this case, it's the measure of angles. Okay, so I'm going to show you what those look like. So there's my notes, and you can see when they email it to me, it gives me each slide with my notes below. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to pick and choose from those notes to create a one-pager, and that is a great way to process your notes. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, subscribe.